Welcome to my presentation over trends, issues, and future applications for Health 6463 Capstone in Health Education with Dr. McCullough. I'm in my final semester here with American College of Education, and in my capstone class, I have found the assignments we've done to be very interesting and informational. So I want to move forward with this application of knowledge and share some issues and trends that are going on in today's world of health and wellness. We need to start out by talking about leadership in general, is the ability to influence others. It's difficult, but it's important. Without leaders, there's chaos. There's no direction to follow, and it's a difficult situation for some people because they're not natural born. They have to be developed, whereas others kind of are natural born and develop. So it kind of depends on where all of your items come from and your roles that you play and your life experiences and just really your personality. But overall, leadership, you have to develop your weaknesses and your strengths. You have to know on what your weaknesses are so that you can continue to work with them, and you have to know what your strengths are so that you can use those to help overcome those weaknesses. There's no perfect leader in the world. There's no perfect person. So understanding those things are very important. Leadership and health and wellness in general, you need to stay current with the world happenings, especially if it's a specific field and that's where your occupation is, or maybe what you're involved in. You must stay current with the technology that comes. Technology is constantly developing with patient records and telehealth conferences and all those things that we'll speak about in a moment. Just the approaches overall to health and wellness. What are the current trends based off of recent studies and scholarly materials? Improving health of everyone is a goal. And then, of course, keeping up with patient care, that when individuals get sick, we want to make sure and try to take care of them. Leadership in general, there's several things here that are based off of the qualities of a leader. First is communication. Listening and delivering information and expectations is imperative. You must keep an open line of communication to continue to evolve and get feedback and incorporate feedback and become better. Change, you must embrace and lead it. You can't resist it. If it's remotely valid, it should be something that you should take the forefront of. Empower others. With that communication and change, you've got to make sure and get feedback and delegate. A leader can't take on everything, and that's an experience that I personally have. When you do, you must give over and trust the people around you. You must have empathy for those around you. You have to be able to see their point of view and relate to them, and that'll grow a stronger organization. Competence and ability. You must be competent in your field and have the ability to adapt as you go, because that adaptability is so important to adjust as conditions change, as requirements change, as expectations change. Take responsibility for the outcome. Sometimes that's maybe the hardest thing that we do in not just health and wellness, but in society in general, is when things go bad. You have to step up and say, okay, this was my decision and I made a mistake. Then emotional intelligence. You've got to control your emotions. You can't get too high when things are going great. You can't get too low when things are going bad. You have to show that restraint and that development to try and lead. And when you lead with that emotional intelligence, emotional stability, then the organization is generally stronger. Health and wellness in general, it involves six main things: the emotional aspect, the social, the intellectual, the occupational, the spiritual, and the physical. It's a well-rounded item that incorporates tons of different perspectives and provides for safe, high-quality, people-oriented care in your life as an individual. And then when you're speaking about health and wellness, for others. So it's a all encompassing. It's not just the physical aspect that the majority of people kind of tend to believe in. Trends and issues. So one of the first ones is virtual effects and approaches to health. COVID has created various issues we've all had to deal with, including colleges like American College of Education becoming a more prominent in the doctoral facet because people are taking more classes online. And it's no different with the health field that we have virtual meetings with wellness visits, health assessments, and sickness assessments. Being online and not getting in the office and being exposed to various things. And plus, it's extremely convenient. So doctors are able to reach more people. Some people may not have the ability to travel for various reasons based off of limitations. And so this would allow them to take part in those health assessments and try to prevent any kind of bad health conditions that are coming for them and correct any health conditions that they currently have. Various ways of accessibility make it much more applicable in today's society. You have telephones, cell phones, computers, mobile apps, communication platforms, in order to be able to reach out to a healthcare professional. And as a leader in the field, you have to be prepared to adapt to these things. Another thing I'm going to throw in here, we'll speak about a little bit more, is the sedentary lifestyle from working at home. There's a lot of at-home work going on, distance learning with school, and so there's not as much exercise that people are undergoing, and so there are various aspects that you have to be able to prepare for as you're in these meetings to try and get people to change their health habits in order to adjust to those. Second trend is going to be concerns for heart and cardiovascular health. This was one of my focuses in my classes. Heart disease is the leading cause for death for both sexes and most ethnic and racial groups in the U.S., while costs also exceed $200 billion each year. 25% of deaths are a result of heart disease. So heart disease was already a prominent factor that came about prior to COVID. And then Wadman in 2022 just recently put out a study of heart disease risk greatly increased because of COVID, both because of having COVID and then a change of lifestyle, which is that sedentary lifestyle we just mentioned, not as much exercise and moving about, and you're able to get up out of bed and just kind of get to work, and you don't have to get ready. And so people aren't bathing as regular because there are keys to health that health and wellness experts such as myself have to push for, and that's controlling of weight, avoiding a sedentary lifestyle, undergoing a proper diet, avoiding smoking, control of health conditions, maintaining good hygiene, and stress management. Trend number 3 is increasing health knowledge in general across the board. There's a desire to increase health literacy, to reach out to the various cultures, the various ethnic groups, and the socioeconomic status, not being a blocker for it, making a movement in your local area to get with the less fortunate, maybe the prominent, and trying to spread health across the whole entire United States. Begins with a community, and that's where a healthcare professional, health and wellness expert must focus. That's a lot of their attention is in order to combat a lack of understanding. Some decisions of lifestyles are made, and individuals don't really understand the concerns that they have. Making health information relatable to those people. Know what environment you're going into. You're going to have to adjust as a health and wellness expert to knowing what it is that you want to provide and how you're going to provide it in a way that makes sense to those people, while also remaining sensitive to various groups, their various religious beliefs and cultural approaches that are going to resist certain aspects of a healthy living, whether it's diet or exercise or just an in general approach to life. You must know how you're going to adapt to that situation and while you're reaching out. And so it's very important that you go through various institutions, various communities, various parts of the community to try and reach everyone to increase health and wellness. Another trend is personalized health plans. When you're making an adjustment to a lifestyle, it is important to understand how to approach that. And personalized health plans, instead of just a blanket approach for everyone, is drastically important. You must be go throughout the process of planning, tracking the process, and the progress that is made through the process by adjusting conditions, making new decisions based off of results that are desirable and less than desirable. In order to have a real personalized health plan, and as a health and wellness expert, you want to try to preach the idea of items that will keep everyone healthy, but make people understand that you're not necessarily going to have a blanket approach to health and wellness, that it's going to be more specific to them. And that makes it much more likely that you're going to have increased effectiveness, because it's a personal choice and there's more carry through, there's freedom, and there's definitely flexibility. Trends and issue number 5, mental health improvement. There's a lot of stress that comes these days. There's the positive of having access to work by working from home and being remote, distance learning, all those things. But at the same time, you have to be able to have mental maintenance. Throughout this program, it's been a challenge to try and balance family and work and hobbies and my children and goals. And you have to take time for yourself. You have to be proactive. You have to try to head that off and not always be stressed, because life is stressful as it is. And taking a few personal moments, and as a health and wellness expert, you need to teach people how to do that. Avoid situations where conflict may arise. We can't always do that, but if there's a situation you're going into that's hostile, maybe you avoid it, or you make some phone calls or prior to that in order to help make that moment a little better. We've already mentioned mental breaks. Set realistic goals for yourself. I typically want to have certain parts of my assignments done as I was going through American College of Education done by certain days. But at the same time, I knew if I set my goal for Wednesday and I met it on Thursday, I would still be okay. It's just something I strive for, and being realistic with those goals and taking an approach and having a plan is very important. Surround yourself with positive people. Negative people bring others down and make it worse, and will affect your mental health. And a health and wellness person should really emphasize that to the individuals that they work with, that being around positive people with the same sort of goals is imperative to having a positive mental health approach. And then exercise. Again, I've mentioned it several times, and I hate to keep going back to it, but the remote learning, the remote work are all these things that kind of lead to a sedentary lifestyle. So being active not only will help you with your physical health, but also with your mental health. It gives you a break. It gives chemicals going in your body. And then there's still those situations where telehealth and therapy sessions are available to anyone that may need it. Trends and issue number 6, leadership and health and wellness is becoming a big field even more today. Visibility within the community. You must go and lead those around you and increase health literacy and help leaders develop so that they can spread more. So be a leader amongst leaders. That's not always easy. But at the same time, it is definitely important for the health and wellness community. Involve healthcare professionals. Get professional opinions, and doctors have to stay up to date with current approaches for all forms of the health and wellness aspect that you have for well-rounded people. Refer to them as a expert. You are needed within the community to make a global awareness of health and what it takes to be healthy. Outreach to all walks of life to try and reach those cultural religious groups, socioeconomic, race groups. It is our responsibility, no matter where you fall in each of those aspects, to try and be a positive influence. So overall, there were 6 major areas of trends and issues that health and wellness experts such as myself will need to adjust. That's virtual effects and approaches to health, concerns for cardiovascular health, increasing health knowledge, personalized health plans, mental health improvement, and leadership in health and wellness. Again, this was Josh Robinson here. I'm going to slightly scroll through my references throughout that I use throughout my presentation. As a health and wellness expert, it's important to be a part of society and be involved. You can't just stay in the background. You have to thrust yourself to the foreground to try and increase the overall wellness of our entire community. So, we have to continue to push. I have to push, and I am interested. I'm an educator by trade, but at the same time, I'm interested in pursuing other opportunities in the health and wellness field outside of just teaching in school. I think there's a lot of opportunities out there to kind of make an impact on my community, and that's something that I've always wanted to do. Again, Josh Robinson with our capstone trends, issues, and applications PowerPoint. Thank you.